Welcome back, Rawcast listeners. As promised, in the previous episode, I ended off by saying that I would talk about my not-so-secret secret of staying productive. Productivity. And my not-so-secret secret to productivity is shoes. But that's all I'm going to tell you about that right now. That's it. Just the tip. All I'm giving you is just the tip. Because now we're going to dive in to something else. And I'll start it off by saying I regret that my very first taste of the self-help genre. Jesus Christ. I was so proud of myself for doing a transition. A nice segue there that I had a trip over the words. But I very much regret that my first taste of the self-help category, the genre, the entire industry, was through MLM. That's right, multi-level marketing. The pyramid scheme. I got myself caught up in a pyramid scheme. Not recently. It's been a while. I don't know how deep into the details and into the weeds I want to get with that. Because there were good things that came just as much as the bad. But nowadays, I feel that pyramid schemes are basically like a virus. You know, you have to get in early, they say. If you get into a pyramid scheme early, then as the business builds beneath you, you can make more and more and more. You know, there's a good time, a window that you need to get into these pyramid schemes. Yeah, it's great. But not knowing all that much about sales at the time, it was suggested to me to venture into the self-help books. And they were mostly written by, higher ups in these various pyramid schemes. They are a fucking virus. You got to get in early so that you can, basically take advantage of your friends and family. Or develop just enough of a relationship with people that you don't know in order to create that transaction. Suck them into your world. Take some money out of their pocket. It's not, I'm not saying it's robbery, but it is something that can definitely take advantage of people that are dealing with mental health struggles. I'm not getting into too drastic of specifics. If you really want to go down that road of why, with some empirical evidence that pyramid schemes are awful. I think it's about 3 years ago, John Oliver on Last Week Tonight did a pretty good segment on that. So if you're into the empirical, go there. Because over here we're talking about the spiritual, in a sense. The psychological to a degree, because I'm still very much a novice. I am a first grade student in the world of psychology. But if you have been listening up to this point in previous episodes, I've come to the realization that it's an ongoing battle that has been going on since about the age of 18, and I'm 31 now. So it's not like every now and then it's like a car going down a shitty road, and every now and then the tire just kind of bump down onto the shoulder, and that you try to straighten the car, and you just go, God fucking damn it. Maybe it's just because I'm a mailman that I bounce onto the shoulder every now and then, the tire gets hung up, and then you just want to be like, motherfucker. Because 1, you fuck up your alignment. 2, motherfucker. Sorry. Let's go back up one level here. But for all those years, I was trying to give my life meaning. The world seemed so big going into college. You're young and full of spunk, that teenage angst, so you think you got the world by the balls, but really, you got life's dick in your mouth. And if you're into that kind of thing, good on you. That's not quite the point I'm after here. I find it odd that I'm very careful about how I say things, and then I also try to include it so that I don't really just offend somebody and let it slide. I'm too nice, I guess. Fuck you, you easily offended person. No, I'm sorry for saying that. I'm sorry. You're a nice person. So yeah, I got sucked up into a pyramid scheme that has since changed its name. I wonder why. I didn't look into the details. I didn't get a reason. But I got sucked into somebody that might have had what do they call it? A messiah complex? Ended up getting into these self-help books that energized my brain. They made me think, yeah, this is great, you know. It was, in a sense, just a different kind of drug. You know, instead of me making progress to living a more full life and helping overcome or break through the mental issues that I was dealing with, it distracted me and ended up being a consequential slow drip of a fucking drug, because these self-help people were just trying to, in a sense, brainwash you to promote the virus you chose to be a part of. You know, just the nature of pyramid schemes. A new product hits the market. Oh my God, it's exciting. And then you spend a few years trying to get as many fucking people involved as possible because you got to get while the getting's good. But eventually, when enough people are in it, nobody wants to buy the shit. Nobody wants to join because everybody else they know is already in it. And when you've got an entire village full of fucking people that are in the same pyramid scheme, where the fuck are you going to go make the money? The clock is always ticking. And so since I was searching for meaning in my life since I was 18, that made me a prime candidate. I was very susceptible to, oh, okay, well, this gives me some focus. I've got a direction to go in. I can go pedal to the fucking metal on this shit, make as much money as possible. It'll also help with my existing job because I had been working at a Verizon store, third-party, indirect retailer. So I thought this would be great. But I am somebody who... Hold on one moment. I'm going to take a sip of Rooney here. I'm sorry for the long silence there. I'm just recalibrating for the way forward. The thing that got me, though, is I was searching for meaning in my life. And through sales and this pyramid scheme, I very much came to realize that my soul was at odds with my circumstances. My spirit was breaking down the longer I worked at this sales job and the more I promoted this pyramid scheme. And I felt like I was poisoning myself. You know, like I said, my soul, my spirit was at odds with my circumstances. You know, my why wasn't important enough to make that work because I started seeing what I was doing as promoting a virus. You know, taking advantage of people, constantly being told, you got to stay hungry, feast or famine. But somebody like me, who was dealing with anxiety, that's like overclocking the fucking computer, because if you're awake, you got to be hustling. That did not work for me. So that was just a downward spiral right into the fucking crapper, mentally speaking. That feast or famine mode where it's got to be super high energy all the time, Like, it's not healthy to have your fucking blood pressure up all the goddamn time. It's not healthy to have your fucking heart rate through the goddamn roof all the time as you're jumping through fucking hoops left, right. Because everybody needs a fucking break, but I am not somebody that's going to be on the front lines doing sales. You know, the idea was I was chasing money at the time. And by chasing that money, I thought that this has unlimited earning potential. Oh, naive Doug. Oh, naive Doug. Unlimited earning potential. Yes, in theory, there's unlimited earning potential, but the highest months, my highest paid months, the biggest commission checks that I had were the months that I ended up working 70 fucking hours a week. And so, yeah, technically unlimited earning potential, but you could sit down and realize that from open to close, if you stayed open to close because you were that busy, you had that many clients coming in, you could realistically calculate how much your commission would be. And not every sale was going to be the big one. Not every person was going to come in and buy a cell phone, a new line of service, which made you more money. They weren't going to buy a tablet or the Verizon Hum for your automobile and a Gizmo gadget for their kids. Like, not every fucking person's going to come in and just blow that fucking cash wad all over your face. So you could actually compute some realistic projections, and you found that the unlimited earning potential would be about $42,000 a year if you worked open to close. Well, that unlimited earning potential sounded pretty limited. So to go ahead and jump into the pyramid scheme, but now, like I said, if you're going to go ahead and stay there, you're already working 9 to 12-hour days, and then you're going to be meeting with people afterwards. My realization that I was already starting to slide. My spirit was sliding away from me. You know, my chakras were out of alignment because it just didn't feel right. The more time I spent away from family was supposed to be better for my family. So these were the early signs of what I am now with my previous explanations about, I think, all the way back to episode 1, House Dad. Oh, look at that. We looped. Oh, shit. This podcast is over because I already looped it back to the beginning. Fucking complete circle. Fucking game over, man. Game over. But, so I was getting self-help through people that knew how to use people to pad their bottom line through the use of pyramid schemes. Looking back, I cannot believe that my search for meaning landed me in a fucking pyramid scheme. I mean, it makes sense. Holy shit, does it make sense? At least I wasn't in like a shitty pyramid scheme where we were selling energy drinks. Like the purpose of the pyramid scheme I was in was to help people get back into shape, eat healthy. And now I want to point out how fucking stupid this is. Because I used the products. You know, you can't sell what you didn't try yourself. I mean, fuck, do you go to a dentist with meth mouth? Do you really want to get your baked goods from a skinny baker? I mean, come on. Do you want to get a tattoo from somebody who doesn't have tattoos or a piercing from somebody without piercings? No. Just like if I'm going to be drinking at a bar, I expect my bartender to be an alcoholic. That was just a joke, but you get my meaning from this, I hope. So this health food came from a box. A fucking box. Now, if you know anything about proper nutrition, it's that if you're going to be going to a grocery store, shop at the outer aisles. That's where the fresh stuff is. That's where the natural stuff is. You know, don't be popping into the fucking aisles for rice cakes and cereals and, you know, candy and all that shit. So basically, if it's in the produce section, the dairy section, the meat section, which I stay away from dairy, lactose intolerant, but to each their own. All you people on the keto diet, eat that cheese, motherfuckers. I think cheese is good on that. I might have screwed myself up there. But you get what I'm saying. The evil in a grocery store is in the heavily processed foods that are in the boxes in the center aisles. So how in the fuck does it make sense that I'm trying to sell the idea of a healthy diet, living a healthier lifestyle, by selling prepackaged food out of a box? God, that's the dumbest shit, in my opinion. The funniest part was, by using the products, I actually got a rash for a while. And I remember my mentor, my sponsor, whatever you want to call him, saying, "Oh, that's just the toxins leaving your body." No, it's it's more or less a physical reaction, like an allergy to whatever the fuck I was pumping into my system. But I really had the realization that I needed to get the fuck out of there when I was told that I could skip a family member's birthday, I believe it was my wife's, to attend a conference in Minnesota. And if I've already told this story on a previous podcast, I apologize, but this is where I needed to go with this. Because I was somebody who has always spent too much time ruminating. This is just me realizing how far back the same problems, the same issues have been going on. Each time that I thought I was promoting a change, they were temporary fixes because they were very much misguided. Had I veered to the left with the self-help category and ended up looking at these books by psychologists now and other topics of mental health rather than being guided into the get rich category like Napoleon Hill books and stuff like that. I mean, there's some interesting philosophy in there, but I don't want to feel like I'm just another termite trying to fucking chew down all the homes in America so that I can make a quick buck. But I was very susceptible. I wanted to bitch a little bit more about how pyramid schemes take advantage or can take advantage of people going through mental issues. But unfortunately, the first step is taking responsibility for yourself. And so, if you've got mental issues and you've gotten sucked into pyramid schemes recently, Godspeed, motherfucker. I wish you the best. So I just kind of feel bad that I wasted this much time. I was complaining about how I missed 6 months of my life by getting caught up in my own head. You know, I've been reading Irvin Yalom books recently. Again, thanks to Jordan Dennison for the recommendations. And he said a couple things that really struck me. I mean, he said more than a couple things that really struck me. But for example, despair is the price one pays for self-awareness. Look deeply into life and you'll always find despair. That is now a quote that has to be tattooed on the insides of my eyelids to not forget because of how many years I went into a tailspin, ended up in my own head, and missed out on living life to the fullest. It's just amazing to me. I can still look through my Audible list and see all those self-help books that it felt like I was finding the answer, but I missed the mark by a fair margin. And only now do I feel like I'm on the right path forward. It's interesting, man. I had another quote in there that I was going to look at. There, that reminded me of where we're going with this. So for anybody that's possibly caught up in their own head, they're in perpetual rumination, analysis paralysis, however you word it, stuck in the mud, spinning the tires. If you're somebody who's stuck there, stop it right now. Because meaning isn't found between your ears. It isn't. As much time as I spent in there, holy shit, did I find nothing. Like, if I was actually in there physically mining, my brain would have been mined out completely. But another Irvin Yalom quote here that has to stick with me, and I hope to share it with anybody who fucking needs to hear it. But Irvin Yalom said, "Life meaning is always a derivative phenomenon that materializes when we have transcended ourselves, when we have forgotten ourselves and become absorbed in someone or something outside ourselves. Those answers are not going to be found in your head. The meaning of life is not in your head. It's around you. You have to go out and give that life meaning. So if you're a couch bound, stuck in your own head, first, snap out of it. Get out of your head. Own up to the fact that you are in that mood because of your own self. We can do this. But now you're lethargic. The motor burned for too long. You burned out that hard drive. Life still feels meaningless. But start small. You got to work on the small things. How's your self-care? Are you brushing and flossing twice a day? Well, floss is recommended once, but you know what I'm saying. Did you make your bed? Personally, I never make my bed. My wife and I are tossers and turners. We actually use separate blankets, so there's really no point in making the bed. It would just look weird with two fucking quilts. By the way, thank you, Grandma. We still use those quilts. They're glorious. She personalized them to each of us. Fucking love those things. So this isn't a knock on how the quilts look. I love them, Grandma, and I love you. But it would look fucking weird just having like two different quilts laying side by side on the bed. So look at this. I'm undermining my own fucking examples. Brush your teeth twice a day. Wipe front to back. Not back to front. For the people that are still stuck in quarantine from some really fucked up places in the United States, at least shower, bathe. Give your armpit a sniff. Do you need to hop up off that couch and take a shower? Because any sort of productivity is going to start by you getting out of your head, getting off the couch, getting out of bed, and putting one foot in front of the other. I know he's a controversial subject, but Dr. Jordan Peterson, I've heard him say time and time again, if you're having these kinds of mental issues, clean your room. And that actually seems to help. It does with me, and I know I'm not some unicorn in this universe. For every mental struggle that I have, there's got to be hundreds of people out there in the world that are dealing with something similar. But at least in this regard, Dr. Jordan Peterson is right. Because when we get too caught up in our head and things feel like they're closing in and life is just a big jumbled mess in our minds, our habitats, our physical surroundings will start to mirror what we're feeling inside. So does cleaning your room, is that your meaning of life? No, but it's something that needs to be done. And so one thing I learned about myself, my not so secret trick to staying productive is keeping my shoes on. Because I'm somebody who dislikes shoes and socks. You know, I'm not full-blown hippie, but like when I go outside, man, I totally want to feel Mother Nature's energy soak up through my heels, man. No, that's not really the case. But I like to let my feet breathe. Even the most comfortable shoes I own, at some point I want to fucking take them off during the day. But in my case, I'm a mailman. I walk all over through the neighborhoods. You never know what kind of fucking shit you're going to pick up on your shoes. Animal piss and shit residue, chew spit, garbage slop, the spit of a racist man. I don't know why I thought that funnier than it actually is. That's just how I am. If I get a little from my own comments, let me have them. As you should with your own life. But so that being said, I don't necessarily want to come home and keep my work shoes on because I'm going to track all sorts of nasty that I don't even want to like take an analysis through a lab, like swab the bottom of my shoe and see what kind of residues I'm kicking around when I come home. No thanks. I'd rather just know that there's a bunch of nasty shit out there that I walked through more than likely, and I don't want it on my floors. So for me, I have multiple pairs of shoes. Oh, listen to this rich guy, king of the castle, has more than one pair of shoes. No, trust me, it's not great. I got like an 8-year-old pair of Adidas sandals, which, fuck those. They're great for kicking on when you go outside, but when you're trying to be productive, fuck sandals. This is, again, my own mind. If you're like, I love wearing my sandals while I do the dishes, good on you. Good on you. I'm not going to refute that. I'm not going to try to start up some sort of anti-sandal while doing the dishes propaganda here. You know, whatever works best for you. But for me, when I'm choosing to be productive, when I need to be productive, I can't have an out. The decision to be productive cannot be revoked. I was looking for irrevocable, I believe, but the word sounded weird in my head. But it needs to be a commitment. So that's one little thing. Because I actually don't enjoy wearing shoes, having them on my feet is a reminder that it is not kick back and relax time. There's still plenty of daylight. You got to get out and do the fucking work. Because if you don't do it, it won't get done. And the more productive you are, typically, I mean, if there are plenty of other issues, but we're following my train of thought and not getting too distracted because, fuck, you all know that I can get distracted. I go tangents upon tangents, and just talking about this is a tangent in itself. You're welcome. But so the sandals allow me to productive mode, relax mode, way too quickly. If I take a step awkwardly, one of the fuckers comes off. What's going to happen then? Oh, my left sandal came off. Now that it's half relaxed time. So now what? I should stand in front of the TV with one sandal on while I flip through Netflix, only to be disappointed that none of those shows are of interest to me? Because I have been caught up in my own head. And so I've been sitting enough, thinking enough, that watching something that's just gonna try to half-ass entertain me, because again, that is a bit of a slam on Netflix. There's plenty of good shit out there, yes. But when you gotta weed through the shit, Netflix is becoming more and more like the fucking $5 DVD bin at Walmart. Here's a nice piece of shit. So, yeah, I use really old sandals. I'm not very good at throwing stuff away and buying new. I'm a cheapskate and the working poor. But I did splurge a little bit to get some of those like dude shoes, and those are my house shoes. I've got my Keen work boots that I use for the outdoor work and for my job. Like those, I try not to bring past the threshold of the garage into my kitchen. I don't want that nasty all up in my shit. But so then I got house shoes for $12 fucking on Amazon, which fuck Amazon. If you guys haven't caught on to my like bittersweet relationship with Amazon, please take note. I've got athletic shoes for $12. I shouldn't have been surprised. You get what you pay for. But when I use those on my treadmill, I thought something was wrong with my treadmill. I was seeing bits of rubber piling up after a 60-minute like fast walk. And I thought, oh, Jesus Christ, what did I do something wrong to the belt on the treadmill? What the fuck's going on? And it took about a week to realize that I was just fucking burning rubber on my shoes. These things are so fucking cheap that immediately the soles of the shoes were falling apart. But I've got them. When those shoes are on, I'm either on my stationary bike or my treadmill. I put a sense of purpose into those cheap-ass shoes so that when I strap those things on, I'm making a decision and I'm going to stick with it. The house shoes, I kind of hate that they're comfortable, but I wear those to do my cooking, cleaning, dishes, laundry, all that fun stuff. So see, what I had realized over the years is that I was constantly changing hats. I was constantly changing uniforms. I was constantly changing titles. But really, it's because I was searching for meaning on my quest for more and more money. And so my focus was completely off. I needed to recalibrate my focus, take stock of life, remake my list of priorities. And now I damn near wear the same hat, the same title, and the same clothes every day. But the one thing that I do change frequently is my shoes. I put a sense of purpose into each pair of shoes that I have. They all have their own purpose. But how do we get into those shoes? And this is actually where I come back and say that there was some good out of the pyramid scheme in that self-help category. I probably never would have encountered the self-help industry if it wasn't for the pyramid scheme in which I was involved. And hold on, I need to get the information one more time. Like, that sounded pretty good in my head. Like, people listening are going to be like, oh, wow. And now he just, like, totally pulled it over to the shoulder and threw it in neutral, not even park, and then took his eyes off the road. Is this going to crash and burn? Or are we going to end up in oncoming traffic? What's going to happen? So you got multiple pairs of shoes now, but you now just woke up. You've been stuck in your head for too fucking long searching for that meaning of life. And this isn't going to be that simple. This isn't going to work for everybody, but if it works for you, great, I'm glad. But I would suggest maybe reading The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. And this is another trick, along with the shoes, for my productivity. Is when your mind is capable of coming up and having sporadic thoughts and at any given moment, but you think of something like, oh, I need to do the dishes. oh, I got to switch that laundry over. Within 5 seconds of you having that thought, and Mel Robbins in her book uses it to talk about how she started exercising on a regular basis. And that's a good example as well. But I don't care what it is. If it's something productive in your life, within 5 seconds of you thinking of that thing that you should be doing and you are capable of doing, within 5 seconds of thinking about it, get up and start doing it. It's easier said than done, but what the fuck isn't easier said than done? There's a character named Zedekias in the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. One of my favorite quotes from that book is the wizard Zed, who says, "Nothing is ever easy." No, because everything takes a degree of effort. And for a lot of people, myself included, that's action. There's a time for thinking and there's a time for action. But if you're susceptible to slipping backwards into too much thinking, within 5 seconds of thinking of an action that you should be taking, get your ass up, start to do it. In my case, that's determining which pair of shoes I need to put on. And so I hope some of this has helped you, if you needed to hear it. I mean, get yourself a pair of $12 athletic shoes if you plan. Get better fucking shoes if you can, but god damn it, if you need to work out more, get some proper footwear so that you're not going to break yourself in half and destroy your fucking feet, mangle them up, and look like foot binding. Don't leave half the soles of your shoes at the end of the treadmill after a 60-minute jaunt. So I'll go ahead and say it. Get yourself different shoes. Use my shoe trick if it works. Maybe I'm just too neurotic. And so it's like I have shoe purpose. But you get what I'm saying throughout this episode. The 5-second rule really helps for people that are struggling to jumpstart their life. But just remember what Irvin Yalom said about the meaning. I'm going to go ahead and read it one more time because this is a powerful one for me. Life meaning is always a derivative phenomenon that materializes when we have transcended ourselves, when we have forgotten ourselves and become absorbed in someone or something outside ourselves. I don't necessarily say that if you're struggling trying to find meaning and purpose in life, that by getting off the couch, putting on some house shoes, cleaning your kitchen, cleaning the entire house top to bottom, or as my wife will do it, bottom to top, which I'm still trying to decide if I should bring that up in an episode of My Three Bitches, but it might be a little too personal. And the fact that I know she listens to this, I love you, honey, I'm sorry. You're a wonderful wife. Better than I will ever be as a wife. But there you have it. A little story about my pyramid scheme, my first taste of the self-help genre, which I was able to pull some nuggets of wisdom out of, even though it was geared up for a focus that didn't align with my spirit, where I needed to go, the direction I needed to go to live the best me, but a necessary step in my life. At the very least, it could make for a good story if you ever want me to get into the specifics of some of the bullshit that I went through, and then, of course, my neurotic mind, and so my reactions to those situations. But the gems are what matter right now. The good books that I was able to pull from the self-help genre. Specifically this time around, the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. Again, thank you to Jordan Dennison. But I really appreciate the suggestions you gave me for like psychology and the mental health realm. Because Irvin Yalom, I'm reading through his books right now. I fucking love them. They hold my attention. I'm genuinely interested, and I'm already pulling those nuggets of gold out and cramming them into my head to serve as reminders on the path forward so that I don't end up on this roller coaster where I fall back and experience regression to a point, because I've experienced enough rock bottoms in the past 12 years that I owe it to myself, I owe it to my wife, I owe it to my kids to continue the path forward of growth, evolving myself, and not falling back on my ass at rock bottom. I can't reinvent my personality again. But so if you're somebody who's stuck between your ears, snap out of it, because the answers aren't going to be in there. It's going to come through inspiration that you find getting up, doing what needs to get done, and experiencing life. To find the meaning within, you are not going to experience your life to the fullest. And I strongly think at this point in my life that meaning is an encompassing idea that is a culmination of your actions. So stop thinking so much and start acting. Thank you. This has been another episode of Rawcast AD.